Welcome, everybody, to the 2022 Power Rangers Mystic Force panel. I am Mike, Sam, and we're going to start on the far end and work our way through. Just say your name and the character that you played on Mystic Force.
Hi, my name's Jeff Dolan, and I was Korak.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for making it out today. I'm John Tui, and I played Solaris Knight Daggeron.
Hey everybody, my name is Chris Graham and I play Leonbo.
Hello, my name is Kelson Henderson and I played Phineas.
How you doing? I'm Richie and I play Xander.
I'm Jackie Marchand. I played a writer and producer on the show.
So I'm going to start off with a question that I've been mulling over for a couple days. Power Rangers Mystic Force is one of the first seasons to really incorporate magic as a theme. But with magic and television, you're very much limited by CGI technology at the time. So what I want to know is how you feel your role in the season, what you did, what you were capable of, may change if the season were produced in 2022 versus 2006. I'm trying to ask some different questions.
I think Jackie should answer that because, you had to write to the budget, right? And you had to write to what we were capable of.
Yeah, I think for the times and the visual effects available at the time and the budget, I think the show was full of really wonderful special effects. And as a writer, if I wrote something in, very rarely would it come back like we can't do that. They would just, the special effects teams and the producers would find a way, like with your tree stuff and like with a lot of the magic stuff, we just filled it with magical special effects. As far as today, of course, things have changed a lot. I'm not sure if it would be better. I just think that we did the best that we could at the time, and it came off like as a very, very magic-heavy season.
I agree with that. I was going to say there's something nice about seeing special effects that aren't CGI. We did the tree properly. Like, it was real bark on my face, and it may have taken 20 hours, but it was worth it. Whereas these days I'd probably just put a piece of green over my face or wear something green, and then they'll just put it on later. So, I was already in green.
That's a really good point, Richard, because our makeup and wardrobe just was so magnificent that we created a world that seemed really magical if we didn't have the money for all the special effects in the world.
Yeah, I'd like to add to that actually, because I think that in New Zealanders, we have a reputation for really, really going the extra mile when it comes to improvising and making things up, and I think there's a certain amount of honesty in the way that we create new content, because back then it was new content, even for us, even for our special effects team. So I don't know, like, I don't want to take anything away from what's happening now, but I kind of think there was a real synergy between the actors and the art department and the costume and wardrobe and a real community feel and a sense to create something really rich and honest. So it made us work harder, certainly. Like, Richard, as he said, had to sit in a chair for a couple of hours getting bark on his face, or maybe 20. He had to be there the day before. But, that sort of stuff, obviously they can speed that up nowadays, but, in the day it gave him an opportunity to have a sense of depth in his character.
Okay, so one of my questions is, so after you were casted as your characters, how did you obviously like the character was written and everything like that, but how did you make the character your own? Like for each one, it's like because like a lot of you like, especially like with voices too, like how did you create the character your own, even though it's like the character was there, it's like the general description, personality, and role wise like was written on paper, like you had to find the person in yourself? It's like how is that process for each of you?
Phineas really just came from the animal noise. And I remember for the audition, he was meant to be eating a carcass, and I remember just rehearsing at home, buying roast chickens, and like doing the audition, eating roast chicken, and that's where Phineas really came from. That whole noise and things like all came from trying to eat a roast chicken. The weird thing is that to start with, Phineas was going to be two personalities in one body. And there was lots more actually, I guess, Gollum Smeagol-like, really deliberately talking to two halves. And we started filming that way, and then very quickly realized that it wasn't quite working for us. So then we kind of came up with the kind of half-thought talk to himself, oh, what am I doing? Yeah, okay, I'm good, yeah! Actually, if you watch the first episode, it is a little bit more very directly two things, and then evolved into that kind of muddle-headed character. Yeah. There's a story.
That's great. I might add to that. Sometimes the casting has a big role to play. So if they cast it right, generally you cast quite similar to your character already. So I found with Xander, I already kind of understood this. There was a lot of similarities between me and Xander. And then when we were doing table reads, I started with an American accent, but maybe because my accent wasn't good enough, I started doing an Australian accent, and it started to sing a little more, and I could bring more of my own personality to it, and then that kind of just felt right. And then I'd say once you get through first couple of episodes and the writer starts seeing footage, then it becomes like this teamwork of they tend to write more for who you are and what you're bringing. So that's exciting because,
Yeah, 100%. We start off with broad characters and ideas, and then once the cast is set in, we'll say, oh my God, Rich is so charming. We'll write to that strength. I'm not kidding. It's like the character grows. Of course, Kelson, hilarious. Phineas is 99% of his creation, very original. But we start off with outlines, and then the actors just take them and make them sing if we're lucky enough to have such a talented cast.
It's a different perspective from the purely voice actor area. I feel like a bit of a fraud on here with real actors, I am one, usually, but this time around, the audition process, you get given a description of what your character is about, and of course within the name Korag, the Night Wolf, you get given a sort of a definition of where his spirit is, and so I really thought about that wolf aspect of it and where I got into the voice, especially during the fighting, getting it into a real sort of wolfish growl to support that aspect of it. In the audition, I didn't really know what the character looked like either. So once I came into the studio and saw the footage, it gave me another new direction of, wow, okay, this guy's quite a warrior side of things as well. So that again alters your voice. It's a different perspective, and because you don't have the physicality to support it, because you're sitting in a box with a microphone in front of you, you sort of really have to focus in on what your voice is portraying. So you get good notes back from producers and writers as it progresses. Now we see this happening for this series and as we're going along, and that helps you again evolve the voice. But you'd be amazed if they ever filmed in the studio, say during Korag's fight scenes and stuff like that. It got real physical. You had to really get into it to really portray things. So I was in there swinging arms and kicking and doing all sorts of stuff just to give it the genuine the effect as you were doing it, getting hit and throwing myself around. So I wish that was filmed. That would have been hilarious to watch. It's like you're just being punched by this invisible thing in a room. It's like, so that's the voice aspect of it.
And I'm actually going to touch on for that side of the panel for a second. So we have an interesting case where with Jeff and Chris, they're actually portraying the same person, the same character, albeit in different means. And then with John, you played Doggy the season prior, but then